rather than social pressures or commitments, rather than social surroundings. Okay? This means rather than the social surroundings. This is a bit of a shorter one. Maybe you can rephrase. So let's say that if or only when we have the determination, only when we have determination to and patience to, only when we have determination and patience to do new things. Only when we have determination to do new things can we learn skills can we learn extra maybe, or only when we have determination and patience to do things can we learn to can we teach ourselves. Regardless of how busy, okay, or busy or what here? Here, no. Regardless of how busy or regardless of how busy or committed. Yeah, not committed. How busy or case, then that's right. So, can we teach ourselves regardless of how busy or committed we are? Okay? So this is, of course, we become many adults. This is attributed more to the adults who to learn rather than the social surroundings. Only when we have determination and patience. Of course, I tried my best not to repeat certain words. So willingness to learn, I think this is a very difficult word to say. So pick up new skills instead of learn. Okay? So instead of learn, I have written here pick up new things or teach ourselves. Right? So try your best not to repeat learn, or things like willingness, or determination, patience. I have repeated patience here because there was written word, there was patience here, so I have repeated this word reluctantly. Okay, it was difficult, but I had to. But it's not a problem if you repeat a word twice or 3 times over the entire text. Make sure not to repeat them more than 2 or 3 times. Okay? So here is the text. Let's just take a look at some. So this is a writing and how to, but of course we found out that it's a bit difficult to make a conclusion, and it's even more difficult to make an introduction. Why? Because these points should have all or not or most points that were mentioned in the text, and they should have nothing more. So all of the points have nothing more. So the introduction and the conclusion. Now I'll teach you how to write a proper introduction and a proper conclusion. That's introduction. Introduction is very important because it gives your reader the first impression of your writing ability. You should never begin your introduction immediately, right? So, if you have been reading many books, you will realize that the saying, never judge a book by its cover, is not exactly accurate. Okay? You can judge a book by not the cover, but by the first 10 pages. Okay? So you take a book from a bookstore and open it. Read the first 10 pages. If you feel that you like or liked the 10 pages, right, there is a 90% guarantee that you will like the book after that. If you didn't like it, then it's better to leave it or return the book and try to find something else that suits your needs. So the first 10 pages can actually be like the introduction of your essay. If the reader didn't like the introduction, you are likely to lose marks, even though, okay, your text or your essay is good. Okay? You are likely to lose marks because the reader himself was not impressed. Okay, so try to wow the reader by your introduction so that you can gain more marks. And this needs much deeper. Of course, the same thing can be said about the conclusion, that it leaves a sweet taste in the reader's mouth. Okay, you know when you take some sugar-free sweeteners, saccharin, okay, they leave a bitter taste in the mouth after you take them, okay, or after you drink some juice. So, which is why many people don't like it. The same thing goes with the conclusion. Try to make your conclusion sweet, okay, sweet, so that when the mark is being graded, they will also have a good lasting expression of you. Your approach to writing an introduction will depend on to a certain extent, on the task itself. IELTS tasks present a discussion topic. It's fairly broad and can be approached by candidates from different backgrounds. So one of the things you need to do in the introduction is to define what you understand by the task and state how you intend to approach it. So first, rewrite the task in your own words so that you explain or so that you show you understand what the task talks about, and then maybe ask a question, right, to explain how you will approach the task. So maybe I had a task in one of the tasks. The task was, should the retirement age from 60 to 65 in Britain, okay, why? Should the retirement age be raised from 60 to 65 in Britain? Why? Now, the way you approach this task, or there are many ways which you can approach this task. First, you can approach it from hiring or leaving space for young employees. Okay, employees, I'm just trying to think this one here. So, employees. So, if you raise the retirement age from 60 to 65, the younger people will not find jobs. Or you can approach it that health is becoming better, right? So the people that are becoming older can work, or the people that are 60 today can work more than the people who are 50 years ago, right? When someone was 60 in 1960 or in the 20th century, they were considered very old and unstable. Nowadays, because of our health advances, 60-year-old seniors can work really easy, not a problem. Maybe you can approach it that we need right? The old people's experience. Okay? We need the old people's experience. There is another point that we need to give them, or they need to have time, okay, to enjoy the money they have earned, maybe since or for maybe 40 or 35 years or so. Let's say that they started working at 25 years, okay, 25 or 35 years. So you can approach this issue from many points, and you need to explain your approach in the introduction. Alright? This will help orient the reader's mind to your set of opinions and to explain how you will approach this topic. Right? Now, let's read one of the introductions here. Right? This one. A company in which every employee is made to feel important will run more smooth and experience greater success than a company that values some employees above others. Discuss. That's it. Discuss. So that's the task given to you. Right? So, discuss. First let's understand what is written. Every employee is made to feel important versus companies that value some employees above others. Companies that value some employees. So, should you have equality between every employee in the company, manager or just a simple worker, or should you have disparity so that important people okay, since here we are. Okay, so if you can hear, all right. Okay, so there's been a small delay, 114 to 126. Hopefully this has been over. We have our lessons about. Okay, so we were at this introduction here to whether we should find or we should treat every employee the same, right? It's been argued. So actually he's mentioning here the general consensus or the general agreement. Okay? There's a general agreement here. It's been argued that if you treat all staff equally, you will improve the success of your company. But how can you make every company or every employee feel valued? And this will really make a company, and will this make a company more successful? Please note that he has used these words he has not used these words twice. So treat all staff and employee. Okay? So how can you make every employee feel valued? Will this really make a company more successful? By addressing these questions, I intend to show that this argument is unrealistic and makes too many assumptions about the human behavior. So we have understood now that he is approaching this task from the treatment of employees like each other, and then he said that this assumption or this shall we say assumption makes too many this argument makes too many assumptions about human behaviors. Okay? Argument with too many assumptions. So this is an introduction. Right? First, he mentioned the question again. Then he said how he will approach this topic. He said that he will approach it from the point of view of the human behavior. What about the conclusion? The conclusion summarizes what you have just said, not include anything in the conclusion, and it reaffirms or it says your opinion one more time to make sure, okay, that the reader understands what you think. Right? So it answers the question you have posted in the introduction. Right? So the conclusion for this one is, in conclusion, I require that because 1, 2, 3, 5, companies that treat all their employees equally are not necessarily more successful because, okay? Or in conclusion, companies that treat their companies equally are not successful because 1, 2, 3, 5, which is why more research must be done to understand human behavior. So like the introduction, the answer does not, an answer that does not include a conclusion is also incomplete. Your conclusion is important because it summarizes your views for the reader. Your conclusions should summarize the key ideas that you wrote about and your views on these, resulting in a final verdict, decision, or statement. If appropriate, you can also be impartial. You can also be impartial. You can take no sides, right? And or state that you have no conclusion. So if you're not sure, okay, say I don't know. And this is one thing that is that many people make mistakes, including myself. Okay, if you're not sure in the IELTS test, make sure you don't know. And this is one of the golden rules in the speaking module that we will be discussing later on. If you're not sure, say that you're not sure and say why you're not sure. You don't have to find a side and get on it, right? You don't have to justify, okay? So you don't have to just try to fight on a certain side. If you don't know the answer, say you don't know the answer. Okay? To sum up is a very good expression here. To sum up, overall, in the final analysis, I wouldn't recommend this one much. Okay? In conclusion, to conclude, and ultimately argument. Right? So, to sum up is a good expression to use. To sum up and in conclusion, overall, right? Ultimately is also maybe use it to say that you don't have it. Now, in the paragraphs, we have seen or in the previous pieces of writing, we have seen, especially the one before this one here. It has been argued, some people say it's a general consensus that, okay, the general consensus is that. Just going to write this one down. You can just say this expression. Right? The general consensus okay? Consensus here is, shall we say, a decision made as a group. Okay? So yeah, the general agreement. Right? So the general, so this is one way of putting it. Your key ideas will form the basis of your arguments. Often, they can simply be stated as facts. But if you want to personalize your argument, the following structures can help you reinforce what is your opinion, or show what you are giving, or show that you are giving a general opinion. So there are three types of sentences. You can say a fact, right, or personal opinion, right? Here we are, personal opinion or general opinion. So you can say one of these. Make sure that you don't mention a fact as a personal opinion, or you don't say a personal opinion as a fact. If something has been proven time and time again, like ice dissolves in juice, or the sun is larger than the earth. This is fact, right? No two people can disagree that something is a fact. Personal opinion is when you say what you think. It doesn't have to be necessarily what other people think. You're just saying what you think and what agreement or what decision you have arrived at. General opinion is when you mention what other people think. It doesn't necessarily agree with what you think. Okay? It can, okay, but not necessarily. Next, this is personal. This is general. I would argue that, okay, I firmly believe, or I believe that. When you say I firmly believe that, you are absolutely sure. Okay? You are sure that this is correct. But you don't have proof. There's no experiment. You are sure, you believe that maybe education is good for children. Okay? But is there an experiment that you know, or, okay, that's a bad example. What else? Maybe you are firmly sure that raising the age of retirement is good for society, but you have not heard of any experiments that have been done, and this would. It seems to me that, okay, I tend to think. Of course, the most powerful expression is the first. I firmly believe it's the second. What about people argue that, some people think or say that. It is understood that something is generally accepted. All of these expressions are used. Write a sentence expressing one of your main ideas, opinions on the problem. One of your main ideas. The word here is your main ideas. So I'm just going to remove these circles. Okay. And then rewrite this one. Teenage drivers are unsafe. I firmly believe driving in the teenage years is a risky proposition, okay, or is a dangerous proposition for most children, maybe, okay, children. So I firmly believe that teenage drivers are unsafe. It's very unsafe to drive at 16 years old. Air travel should cost less. So it seems to me that it is only logical to reduce the air travel fares. Okay? Fare here is tarifa. So you can have a taxi fare or a bus fare or a plane fare or an air travel fare. Okay? Taxi, bus, ticket, and anything that you get on and pay money to use to go somewhere. Okay? So it can be taxi, it can be bus, it can be train, plane, anything. Alright? Let's see C. Number C, or letter C. School uniforms should be compulsory. Compulsory. So I tend to think that students should wear, okay, or students should be forced to wear the school uniform whenever they go to school. Books will soon be old-fashioned, okay, and then use the same. So I will just, another way of putting forward an argument, I'm just going to take the break here. Thank you very much for following, and this concludes the first part of our lesson. Then the second part, we will talk about concessions, and we will try to finish test. Okay, if not, session 8 will finish. So thank you very much for following the first part. I'll take a break now. Okay? So let's carry on. We are on the second part of session 7 now, and in the first part we have taken a look at how to compose an introduction and a conclusion for our text, and how to put our ideas cohesively together. It's also, it also included some writings that are very good, and also it has one introduction that approaches this second task from a certain point of view. It answers the question, but from a certain direction, okay? And there are many directions, and there are many points of view, or many angles, many aspects, okay, from which you can take a look or look at the topic being discussed. You have to explain what your angle is in the introduction. Your introduction must also include rephrasing the first question to explain that you understand what the first question is. On the other hand, the conclusion will include a summary of the entire text. Okay? Don't mention the examples, just mention the main points. And you have to express your final opinion, whether it's yes or no or I don't know. All right? And of course, this will be the last thing in the text. Of course, your opinion must be justified. So if you don't know, you have to explain why you don't know. Maybe the reasons are very much close to each other. Okay, the for and the against points of view are very strong that you don't exactly, or you cannot be biased towards one way or another. All right. So this is the introduction, the conclusion, the sentence cohesion, and let's take a look at some of the structures that can help. For example, concessions. Concession is when you admit that something is right. Yes, I know that cars are harmful for the environment, but on the other hand, buses emit more pollution compared to cars. Maybe something like that. Or the other way, you can say that, okay, some people tell you that cars are much cleaner than buses. So, okay, so you say, even though, or while, let's say, despite the fact that a car in and of itself is much cleaner than a bus, and it emits much less emissions, a bus can have 50 people on board, while a car can only have 5. Which means that the bus's emissions should be compared not to one car, but to 10 cars. And in that respect, it's noticed that the bus's emissions are significantly lower than that of the number of cars necessary to carry the same number of people. In fact, or indeed, we should also consider that many of the cars carry less than 5 people, so that number is even higher than just 10. Okay? Now let's take a look. Another way of putting forward an argument without being too dogmatic. Dogma here means that you have an opinion and you do not accept that other opinions could be correct. Alright? It's saying that only what you say is right and no one else is right. This is a fatal mistake in argument in general. I'm not talking about IELTS now, I'm talking arguments. If you present your idea as if it's the only thing out there, while it's not, this means that you are very close-minded,